Alright, welcome to the pre-game podcast of PAX East 2014 Day 1. We're here with GameFront's Editor-in-Chief Janelle and Ron.
Hello, everybody!
Our senior editor, Phil Hornshaw.
Hey.
The Editor-in-Chief of the wonderful Escapist, Greg Tito.
Hello, how are you?
And of course, myself, I'm the managing editor of GameFront, Ron Whitaker. We've had a busy first day. We've had some panels, we've had some appointments. It's been wonderful fun.
Wonderful.
So, Ron, can we tell our audience about how they can join in on the fun with us?
Well, indeed. Today, as you might have noticed from the podcast, things are a little bit different when we're at one of these shows. Today we're having a bit of a beverage, as you might notice. And if you'd like to follow along, today's drinking game for the GameFront podcast goes as follows. Whenever someone says PAX, you take a drink.
Drink.
Everyone,
Whenever...
this is a test. If you're not drinking, shut this podcast off right now and
I
you'll
like
get
that
one.
we're not doing this with beer or wine, but...
Bourbon.
What is it? Where did it come from?
Today we're having Town Branch Bourbon directly from Lexington, Kentucky.
Thanks, Town Branch.
And no, Town Branch is not sponsoring us. We're just really happy.
They're basically sponsoring.
They're not aware they're sponsored.
We haven't told them yet. But, so, the second rule is, anytime that Phil says, but why is that even the way, why is it even that way? You have to take a shot. Shot of whatever you're drinking today. And then finally, when Mass Effect inevitably comes up, you finish your drink.
Done.
I saw a really great Mass Effect cosplayer today.
Oh, shit.
There really were some good ones though.
What were some of your favorites?
Actually, there was Tally. Apparently there was a Tally right behind me when I was playing Nosgoth. That was interesting. Actually, though, not Mass Effect related. My favorite cosplay today was a really battered-looking Lara Croft.
Yeah, I saw that. It was really good.
Like she got hit by a truck. It was
Really?
awesome. Yeah, it was super cool. And she had the bow. But yeah, she was dirty. It was great.
That's how you gotta do the new Laura.
Yeah, definitely.
Which I'm totally down with. That was... I like that character.
And while I'm drinking, I'll probably say Laura. I know that's incorrect.
Correct us in the comments.
Get over it.
In the comments, it's okay. We're used to it.
Just take down the times whenever she says Lara.
Yeah, it's alright. I mean,
let us know.
We'll start out. We'll talk about a little bit about the panels we did today. Greg moderated a panel today on how you can end
Bile and hatred in games culture. Yeah.
And what was the conclusion?
That you can. And it's all gone. It's all done.
You solved the whole problem.
It was 1 hour, and we had a little kumbaya session. We didn't have any bourbon, which probably would have solved a lot of those problems. But no, we talked about how we see a lot of crap. We see a lot of people acting awful in internet forums, on comments, on Twitter, Facebook, even, showing their kids to me. And I'm like, why would you do that to me on the Facebook? How could you? And I think when we start out as content contributors, we think that the negative comments that we receive, we should just ignore them. Like, we should just be like, oh, yeah, that's not...
Don't feed the trolls.
Don't feed the trolls. Don't read the comments. It's the only way you can survive. Have a thick skin. You should just toughen up. It's, and to some extent we do that. But I started to think that was not a good idea as a general rule.
Right.
Because what that does is allow that negative behavior to grow. It shows that they don't have any consequences to having this bad behavior. So the panel was all about showing ways in which you can engage with people. And 9 times out of 10, when you do engage with people who are acting trollish or saying vile, awful things about something that you wrote, if you were just like, I hear you, I understand, I disagree, but thanks for your comment, 9 times out of 10, that person is going to be like, oh, I didn't think that you were actually going to respond.
Yeah.
I didn't
or you're
know
going to be that reasonable.
Not aware you were human.
And if you respond with politeness, most of the time your response is back is going to be politeness. And because you do that in real life. When you challenge someone in real life, most people back down because that's just what happens. So we don't have that on the internet. There's no
filter.
There's no filter. You have an anonymity. So actually showing that there is consequences and that what your actions are doing are hurting someone is the way to change that and kind of filter that out. So I feel like I've had a shift in my personal opinion of how to deal with that kind of negative stuff, and I hope other people do too.
Yeah. I mean, and it goes to show that a lot of people in real life don't normally act like that, right?
Right.
It's just this phenomenon on the internet. And a lot of that has to do with there's no instant feedback or consequences to their actions.
Yeah, you're not
right? You say something dickish to somebody and you know immediately how they feel about it, right?
I mean, in New York, you're going to get punched in the face.
Yeah, or stabbed.
Or stabbed in the face.
Or hit by a car.
Usually in the face, though.
In the face, all in the face.
Yeah.
But, I mean, and so allowing people to have some sort of feedback in a way gives them a chance to change their behavior at the very least.
Right. And if you start to build a community of people who, it's not just the content contributors that are acting that way, but it's actually other people who are members of that community, it becomes self-policing, and then all of a sudden you have this great place. So, I don't know. I think it's something to think about.
Yeah, I think it's doable. It's definitely doable.
I always find whenever I engage anybody reasonably, like on Twitter or whatever, even if they're critical, like to the far end, there are people who they're too far gone a little bit, but most of the time if you're like, yeah, but this is why I think what I think, you just get another reasonable response in return, and then it becomes a cool conversation.
Right.
I found most of the time I end up actually having interesting conversations with people where I was like, oh, I have to respond to this, and people just want to talk most of the time.
Yep.
I don't know.
And the odd thing is you're going to often turn detractors who people who are like, I hate you, I hate you, I hate you.
Right.
If you actually respond to them, that hatred can very quickly turn to fandom.
Right.
Yeah, very
You
much.
know? So because the fact that they're engaging with you and if they feel like you have not stooped to their level in some way, but like you've gone down to experience what they're experiencing,
Right.
that makes them respect you.
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like when it comes to hate, there's a certain amount of empathy that's involved on both sides that helps diffuse it. How many times does someone say something to you that you have in your head, at least, a knee-jerk reaction where you're like, oh my God.
You want to argue, you want to fight.
Yeah, but 9 times out of 10, you don't normally act that way. Allowing yourself to understand why people are writing what they write, because it's so much easier to have that knee-jerk reaction on the forums or in comments.
Right.
And just allowing yourself to give some empathy and be like, I know where this knee-jerk reaction is coming from, but let's take it down to a proper place where we can talk.
Right.
I think people appreciate that on some level.
They do.
They really do.
Yeah, I agree. And it's good to know that, I mean, I don't know how the audience responded. I imagine it was probably fairly well.
It was. I mean, it was a little bit self-selecting because the people who were going to go to a panel like that already want to end violent hatred.
True.
But no, there was a lot of positivity. A lot of people were like, a lot of women who were in the audience were gamers and felt like that they constantly get their, just appearing on an online chat, that they'll get all this abuse and everything like that. And I wanted to say, like, even in an online setting, in online multiplayer, like, it's not okay. Like, Xbox Live has that reputation of being, like, full of, we say kids, but they're mostly not kids. They're they range to all kinds of ages. Just being able to spout these racial epithets, these awful sexist things, and no one ever calls them on their shit. Honestly,
Right.
And
Yeah, usually just mute out.
you mute out, or you just don't participate in online shooters.
Exactly.
And I feel like if one person was like, "Don't do that," that person would probably stop.
Right.
In many cases, I think you're right.
Yeah, I mean, there is always going to be the corner case of someone who's going to go extra, abusive,
Sure.
to up their game, so to speak, as being extra. But in some ways, that's also good because then they're expending more energy, and will realize how futile it is.
And it makes it easier to, from our standpoint, you can weed some of those people out.
Right.
So who was on the panel with you?
It was Andrew Renee from The Escapist. Bob Chipman, Movie Bob, was there. Andre Meadows, who's known as Black Nerd, and Evan Narciss from Kotaku, and Andrew Yoon from Shack News.
Cool.
So it was people from all kinds of walks
Shackers!
and we talked a lot about not just sexism but racism and how that will often be the conversation. It'll be about what race they are as opposed to what games they like or whatever like that.
Right.
And they have to deal with a specific brand of bile and how dealing with that. I mean, those are complex issues: racism, homophobia, all that kind of stuff. And while that's not really our jobs to educate people on social issues like that, you can at least be like, treat people like people. Like,
and you can be proactive.
Yeah.
And sometimes people who aren't in certain situations that normally get targeted by those kind of comments don't notice what's going on or don't realize the comments they're making.
Yeah.
So even just promoting awareness in that sort of field makes people change their behavior because they don't realize what they're saying.
It's something that I do all the time, and I'm not sure if anybody else here does, but saying something is retarded.
Right.
Every time I do it now, I'm like, I should not say that. That is not something that I want to like start doing. But you're right. It came from a place of not knowing that can be offensive to certain people, and I've had people say, "Don't do that anymore," and I'm like now actively trying to choose to do it. And it came from ignorance, and then you slowly change your behaviors over time. But it took someone being like, "You shouldn't do that," for me to really realize that how hurtful it could be.
Yeah.
So if we're not doing that, then we're not making the internet a better place, and we should try to make the internet a better place.
We are the stewards because we all live there.
This is true.
Yeah.
I'm on there right now.
Right now. Right now.
This very
we're
second.
Drinking.
You're not here at PAX?
PAX is in the interwebs.
Up,
PAX
drink
is
again.
in the mind.
Shit.
Ooh,
Up,
shit.
drink again.
Well done, everyone.
Okay.
I was trying to slip one in there. And
Sorry about that. It slipped right out. The other panel.
You can put it back in real quick.
Speaking of not
What do you
calling
know?
people retarded.
You should stop calling them retarded.
No, but it's actually a good segue. Speaking of not calling people retarded, today I participated in a panel called "Take This, I'm Not Crazy."
Yeah, that's right.
And Take This, for those of you who don't know, is a charitable organization that was founded about a year ago. The spearheaders of the organization have been Susan Art and Russ Pitts and Dr. Mark Klein. And the organization's kind of mission is to promote awareness and empathy for, mental health disorders and any sort of depression, anything that affects people in a way that they don't feel comfortable talking about because we have a stigma in our industry and just in our society at large that if you say I'm depressed or you say I have an anxiety disorder, I can't do it, or I have ADHD, this is a thing that I'm dealing with,
right.
or post-traumatic stress. A lot of people believe, well, you're broken, so something must be wrong with you. So nobody talks about it. So the panel for that week, the panel for today that we did was talking about how, just because you have these issues, you should be able to talk about them. 1 in 4 people in society are dealing with a mental health disorder. And I got to participate in doing a lot of role-playing exercises.
Those were awesome, by the way. They were so good. It was like, drama club / prevention players.
Yes.
We have this thing in my school called the prevention players.
Oh.
Where they basically did what you guys did. They took like role-playing scenarios about how you shouldn't do drugs.
Yeah.
And I felt like I was transported back to middle school. But it was really informative, I thought, because I saw you guys were role-playing certain ways that people interact about mental illness that happen all the time.
Yeah.
It was not unfamiliar.
We had scenarios where we had, the friend coming to another friend, telling them about their shitty day, but serious issues where they needed to talk.
Not just shitty day, but I'm feeling
I'm having a terrible
depressed.
problem. It's affecting my relationship. It's affecting my life. And having someone go, oh yeah, my day was really shitty too. Let me tell you about my day.
Right.
And things like that.
I was caught in traffic. I laughed about that. I was like, not the same as clinical depression, dude.
Exactly. I got to also play the asshole boss.
Play.
You
were role playing.
No. It was
She was
tough.
really good at that one.
It was a tough role play for me.
Yeah, it was going outside the box for you.
Yeah, about complaining about your coworkers when they are dealing with their own mental health issues, and I feel like a lot of people got to come up and talk. It's normally we've done it now. This is our 3rd PAX that we've done it, and people get to embrace sort of this is normal. When you have a situation where 1 in 4 people are suffering, it's no longer suffering, right? This is the normal.
Well, for those of us longtime GameFront readers, you might recall we had a contributor by the name of Matt Hughes, and the Take This organization was actually founded in response to Matt's unfortunate suicide.
Yep.
So.
And it's just, sometimes when your friends need help, you get them help. Even if it's about calling the cops. Sometimes if you hear your friend is asking for help and you can no longer help them, do whatever you can to get them help because you never know.
Yeah.
And it's better to have it's better to have your friend be mad at you and be alive and safe
Right.
Correct.
than to let it go on and then regret that you never did anything.
Because it's very difficult for some people who suffer from those things to find the help or know what help they need. And sometimes in cases their own mental illness will prevent them from seeking out that help.
Exactly, and you become irrational. And the one last takeaway that I just want to share before we move on that I thought was really poignant was a lot of people came up and asked questions, and a lot of the questions were, my friend calls me every night or says, I want to kill myself a lot, or says these things that make me really worried, they want to hurt themselves, and now it's stressing me out, it's taxing me out, and so I zone out, and I don't know what to do, and I just zone out, and it's making me upset. And what was said was, when you're on an airplane, what do they always say? If something goes wrong, the oxygen masks come down. Put the oxygen mask on yourself first.
And then help your friend.
And I think, that's a really great, poignant way to go through life. Put the oxygen mask on yourself, and then do what you need to do to help your friend.
Right.
So that was that panel. It was
a
little heavy. We were both on heavy panels today.
Yeah.
And then I was not.
You were on a non-heavy panel.
I was on the lightest panel of all. We talked about the first 6 months of the quote-unquote console war.
Dun, dun, dun.
Between Sony and Microsoft and some other guy.
Gabe Newell?
Yes.
Sort of, yeah. And it was a great panel. We had Chris Kohler from Wired and Mike Futter from Game Informer and Alexander Slawinski from Joystick.
And it was
moderated by
Paul
Goodman from The Escapist. And it was a really good panel. It was fun. It was so much fun to do it because, we had a lot of the audience getting into it and participating. And you'd be shocked to hear that the Xbox One got booed.
But there's a lot of people. There's a lot of people yelling out. They're like, "Oh my god, he works for Microsoft."
Yeah, it was really funny. It was really funny. And I think the conclusion we came to as far as the console war goes is that it's still going on.
Nintendo's winning.
Nobody knows, and Nintendo's totally knocking it out of the park. If by knocking it out of the park you mean digging into their mountain of cash reserves to stay afloat.
Spoiler.
Yeah.
Privately owned company. What?
So
their IPO is going to be huge.
It's going to be something to see.
Yeah.
I mean,
bigger than King. That's Business Insider talk.
That's some Bloomberg level.
That's what we talk about
there.
at PAX.
Drink.
It's all about MPD numbers here at PAX.
Yeah,
oh fuck! I didn't mean to say it. Janelle was gonna sit that one out, by the way, and she was like, "Well, no, I shouldn't."
So
I drank it.
Yeah, you were gonna. You had that instinct.
I did.
Like,
I had the moment where I was like, "Everybody else, do your thing."
Moving.
I want to be able to record Janelle vomiting on one of these podcasts before the end is over.
Hey, I have an iron stomach.
You have a stomach still?
Yeah,
okay,
no colon, still stomach.
I was gonna. Sorry, go ahead.
So the other thing that happened today, at least for some of us I know, we wandered the floor and we participated in playing and checking out various games. I know Janelle is just bursting at the seams to talk about some really cool new stuff that Blizzard's bringing to Hearthstone.
So today, Hearthstone announced that they're bringing out Adventure Mode in Hearthstone.
What?
Yes! And what Adventure Mode is, for all of you, if you've played Duels of the Planeswalkers,
right.
Where you get to play through long-form scenarios.
Quote-unquote campaign.
Yeah, campaigns, AI bosses, and unlock decks. Also unlock decks for yourself and cards. They're doing that. But all of their Adventure Modes are going to be based on all of their major raids in World of Warcraft.
What's the first one?
Naxxramas.
What?
Oh, man.
Yeah, Nax. So you're going to be able to raid through Nax again with your cards.
Wait, so is it going to be vanilla Nax, or is it going to be the Nax that came out with Wrath of the Lich
It's going to be
King?
vanilla Nax.
Oh, it's vanilla Nax.
Oh, wow.
I might have made that up. It's going to be vanilla. Blizzard, it's going to be vanilla Nax.
Is it going to be chocolate Nax?
No, vanilla.
Oh, I really wanted to be chocolate.
I'm pretty sure that Blizzard's listening. There's probably guys in
I
the
know.
room.
They're taking notes and everything.
Yeah, they also sang at the Hilton Back Bay in Boston.
Yeah.
Right.
Yes.
So I wouldn't tell about the cards. What were did you see some actual stats on the cards?
They didn't show stats of cards or anything.
I saw some pictures behind them. Dun dun dun.
Do you have the pictures, Ron? No.
There was no. It was not good descriptions on there.
No.
I don't have the
placeholders. They were
placeholders.
They
were just. If you know Nax, it's all of the AIs are going to be the bosses.
Nice.
That's kind of that was the big announcement.
The flavor, right?
Yeah.
That's cool.
But they're not. Cool. From my knowledge, they didn't say they were releasing new cards.
Oh, so the rewards you're going to get are just more packs,
yes.
more card packs?
Yeah.
Oh.
They could, but that wasn't part of their announcement.
I feel like they will add cards just because that's what they're going to do.
Because there aren't that many cards.
There's only like 340 cards.
Is there that much, really? I thought there was even less than that.
I looked it up the other day for some stupid reason.
340
that's a really good reason.
Is generally the standard deck size of a set released by Wizards of the Coast.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right. But that's one set.
That's
like the Magic core set.
340 is normally the core set.
Okay.
And then their supplementals, depending on so the first supplemental usually ranges from 200 to 280.
Captain's Log. Yeah. Supplemental.
Yep. And then their second and third goes from 140 to 2.
Do you think they're going to follow Magic rules, though? Or do you think they're going to follow their own, digital TCG rules?
I think they'll probably hew closer to those digital collectible card games. They haven't had a physical CCG for a while, but they'll probably just make... I feel like they'll just make some... They'll be like, we're adding some cards for next Ramos, and there's this. Yeah. And it'll be however many it is. I don't think it's... Yeah. There'll probably be more cards, for Nax than there were for, I don't know, AQ40.
I like to see how they balance it.
It'll be interesting.
I wonder if they're going to just keep the standard sort of classes that they have now.
Right.
If they're going to add more classes, right?
I don't know.
There's only one other one they can add.
They can add Death Knight, I guess.
Well, I guess the Monk.
Death Knight.
And Monk, that's it.
Yeah, that's the two.
They can make stuff up.
They could.
I
feel like
the Warlock
classes, they're done. I mean, classes I think they've got pretty much down. I think they just need more cards.
I see them doing things like the Warlock. Do you know how they have the Draxus card?
Yeah.
So you have a card called Draxus which changes your character. They might do things like that.
Probably. That's a good point.
Because druids, think about it, right? Druids
shapeshift,
in WoW shapeshift. They can't shapeshift now. Only the Warlock can. I could see them adding shapeshifting cards.
Right. A scenarios card.
Turning them into a healer or something else.
Right. Oh, yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah, I feel like Blizzard has really gone out of their way with Hearthstone to really hew to that Warcraft,
flavor
and flavor. Yeah. And I feel like they're not going to move away from that just for the sake of doing something silly. You know, especially since there's so much crossover there. I mean, everything is about Warcraft.
I think Janelle really just wants to have a Moonkin.
Yeah, I want a Moonkin so bad. And it's a Boomkin, Greg.
I'm still going to call it
the original name.
The original name.
Well, Greg, if you've ever raided with one, they're a Oomkin because they never have any damn mana.
Yeah. Out of mana all the time. I never raided, though. That's
know what? All that means is you didn't get your potions in order.
Which takes a lot of time.
Yeah, we're not going to devolve this into the WoW rating podcast, are we?
Let's talk about WoW rating.
Yeah, okay.
I think it's really important.
I thought we were talking about PAX.
Oh,
you son of a! I've been drinking.
Drink.
I got to contribute something.
So if we're
so that was my exciting announcement that I thought was really exciting. What else was there?
We'll stick with Blizzard for me because I went to Blizzard this morning and I got to talk about the WoW expansion.
So,
Warlords of Draenor.
Yeah, I got to see a couple more of the new models.
Yeah,
they look really good. And then I got a chance to see a few other things. That, they let us play the expansion a little tiny bit, and they showed us how. One of the concerns I've heard from people when it comes to the expansion is that you're gonna have all these people that are going to be instantly 90, and they're not going to know what the hell is going on.
Right.
And so what they're doing to combat that is if you use the boost to 90.
Level boost,
when you go to the new zone, you're going to start out in this. There's this 1 hour prologue that everybody's going to play through. But if you've used the boost, you're going to start out with 4 or 5 skills on your bar, and then as you go through the quest, they're going to add things to help you sort of get acclimated to your character's abilities, so you don't get 25 buttons dropped on you at once.
Right.
And then. The second thing they talked a little bit about garrisons, but they didn't show anything, and they were real, kind of cagey. But the garrison part sounds amazing for what they've told, which is you'll be able to recruit NPCs that will come to your garrison, and that's going to be your one like friendly place in that whole Draenor world. And you're going to have building pads where you can build crafting buildings or gathering buildings, and you can have people go out. They're going to create crafting materials for you, and you can have a blacksmith building where he'll level up when you give him materials to make things, and he'll learn new recipes where he can make cool stuff for you. And then you can equip your NPC people and send them out to run dungeons for you and get you loot. I mean, it's a little bit crazy, but at the same time, a little bit awesome. So,
do you? And this is maybe just talking about my own personal feelings, but I was a Blizzard fanboy for
a long time,
long time.
Right.
You know, probably from 2002 till about 2011.
Yeah.
Or so. And
the pandas really killed it for you.
No, I actually really love the pandas. The pandas were great. I just didn't have time to play them.
Yeah.
But when I heard about the Warlords of Draenor expansion, I was like, really? Are we going back to the place we've already been?
It's not really.
Does it feel like that? I mean, or because it's going back in time too, which they've already done that.
Yeah.
As well, and it's like, I want to see new places. I want to see the Emerald Dream. I want to see.
Yeah.
When they did the first Outland expansion, when they did Burning Crusade, they're like, well, we can do all planets because we can do portals to all other weird worlds, and they're going back to the same world they were on before.
Here's my take
it's not exactly the same. It's a little bit different, but I get where you're coming from.
Yeah,
and I kind of had that. So I was like, wow, I have to go do Nagrand again. Jesus,
yeah, right.
Christ.
And Nagrand was awesome.
Yeah,
in 2006.
Yeah, but then when you had to farm it for all those moats, you were like, oh my god, I'm gonna die.
Right. In 2007, it sucked.
Yeah,
but 2006, you're like, this is great.
It was really great.
Yeah. But I mean, the thing about it is I think that they're really taking, at least from what I've seen so far, they're really trying to make it. They're trying to make this like a really dark expansion, right? Like really gritty, really dark. Because they said, the pandas were kind of light and really story heavy, and now we're going back to like this it's really dangerous, really deadly, dark, gritty kind of thing.
So why wouldn't they go to? I mean, this is just total speculation, but that lore has so much great dark stuff to go to.
I know. I don't understand it, but I guess they're
like where did the that planet where they keep talking about where the sorcerers came from? Not the sorcerers, the evil guys that are in the Burning Crusade, that are like had the sorcerer pyre. They're like, they all came from one planet. And then they got subsumed into the Burning Crusade. You know
I know what you're talking
about.
Like,
why don't we go there? Like,
I think what they're trying to do is they're trying to not start from the beginning in two places, right?
Right.
They're trying to recapture the fans that they've lost through WoW.
And a lot of them
who have the nostalgia, right? Come back from the nostalgia. But on a second tier, take the lore and entice an entirely new generation into it before they branch out. If they go straight to that, nobody's going to know what they're talking about.
Yeah, well, I mean, you're not going to. I mean, then stop making expansions. Like, like just stop making the game at this point and double down on the Project Titan, which they've been very tight-lipped about.
Yeah. I mean,
or go play Wild Star.
I mean, they've got exactly. But they've got other. I feel like Blizzard is smart in that they realize that their WoW cash cow
is struggling a bit.
Is getting old and needs to be put down pretty soon.
There was a statement made when I was talking to the developers today. Yeah. And they were like, they literally said, people say, well, this game is 10 years old. It came out in 2004. And they're like, yeah, but it's been completely remade. And, now I got all these new character models. And
because now you can fly.
Well, actually, when you go to Draenor, when you go to Draenor, you can't fly. Just so you know.
What? You can't fly?
Not in Draenor.
Until you get to a certain point?
Well, you will not be able to fly when you start out. And there has been no decision made, yes or no, whether they'll be flying at all.
Well, the flying is not there to force people to go through the world. Right,
exactly.
So that's why in every expansion, generally...
They want to force you to do the exploration.
So in Wrath of the Lich King, it was too cold, right?
Yeah.
So you had to get frost flying or whatever they called it at the time, right? So I think it's just a manufacture of, if they give you flying, there's no really good game design way to force you to explore the world.
Right. And exploration.
I don't know
is
how
another
else to
thing.
do that.
I mean, they said they want to reward players for exploring the world. They're going to go back to putting in like hidden treasures that you can find that aren't going to be marked on any maps. You just happen across.
Well, they had those in Mr. Pandaria.
Yeah, well, that's what they said they got the idea from, and they're doubling down on that. So I mean, there are some things that are in there that sound kind of cool, but I just wonder. I wonder how many people are going to be like, I really want to plunk down $40 to come back and play WoW again. I feel like there are going to be some that do it. I mean, there always are. There's always that spike in WoW players that happens with every expansion.
I come back every expansion. I come back.
Everybody I know does.
Yeah.
I mean, but
just to even check it out.
You play it for like 30 days, and then you're like, I'm done.
You play for a month or two.
Yeah.
You finish all the content. You go, well, I can either stay here and raid, or I could go back to doing other things, and you go back to doing other things.
Yeah,
so,
I didn't even go through Orgrimmar. I can't do this.
Which shows you what makes the subscription model work, right?
Right.
The new content makes people shell out more
money.
money.
Not only that, but the other thing that makes the subscription model work for WoW so much is how much people have invested in those characters. If you've got, I know a guy that's got 10 level 90s. Right? I mean, he's got a ridiculous amount of time invested in those characters.
That guy's name is Ron Whittaker.
I wish it was me, but it's not. I don't have that much free time.
I'm not an altist, and I still don't have as many hours as most. But my one main character has 387 days. And that doesn't count the hours. 387 days of my life.
So in 10 years,
I spent in this game.
So in the 9.5-ish years that WoW's been on the market, you've played over 10% of it.
Yeah.
That's both impressive and somewhat sad.
It's always sad. I don't know how many of those were flying in circles somewhere, right?
Probably a lot.
Like a lot of them.
Well,
waiting for the raid to get their shit together.
Now, if only you could play Hearthstone in WoW.
Oh, that's
my
coming.
God.
While you were waiting to get your shit together.
You can play Peggle in WoW. You can definitely one day play Hearthstone.
You can play Plants vs. Zombies in WoW.
Yeah, all that seems makes sense.
There's actually a quest in
Hillsbrad. Oh no, it's one of the best quests.
Hillsbrad Foothills,
right? It was in Cataclysm.
Yeah, it was in Cataclysm, man. In Hillsbrad Foothills, and I think it's Hillsbrad Foothills.
Yeah.
Anyway, you play. There's a guy in the game, and he's got a garden, and you play
right where Dalaran used to be.
Yeah, it is amazing.
Yeah, it's and I have the sunflower pet pet battles in. Was that Mid-Spandaria? The pet battles came out?
Yeah,
that was the
WoW.
most fun I had with WoW, with playing a game that had nothing to do with WoW.
Yeah,
Pokemon!
You were playing Pokemon.
It was basically Pokemon.
Yeah.
It was a better form of Pokemon, because I play Pokemon, it ain't that fun. Pet battles was fun.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
And I played Diablo 3 on PS4.
Diablo 4 is coming out?
Jesus
Did they
Christ.
announce that at PAX?
Diablo 3 on PS4.
Everyone drink!
Too many numbers. Jesus, you said PAX.
I did. I'd actually been saying,
So did you.
Phil,
Oh,
you
shit.
You need to say your catchphrase at this point.
Oh, yeah. No, I'm saving it.
So,
there was a lot of opportunities. I felt like with that last conversation, you're like, why did it even have to be about that?
yeah. But, I mean,
Wow.
Diablo 3 on PS4 is Diablo 3 on PS3 with some cool tweaks. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But, I mean, I'm really tired of Blizzard.
Should I give Diablo 3 another chance? I played in the beta, and I was like, this is kind of cool. And then it came out, and I was like, I don't really like
Reaper
this.
of Souls is better than Diablo 3.
Yeah, is it?
Loot
is.
2.0 fixes.
Yeah, Loot
a lot
2.0
of
fixes a
issues.
lot of issues, especially playing PC or PS3.
PC.
Okay. Loot 2.0 fixes a ton of issues that the PC version had.
Bluetooth 2.0?
No. Yes. Maybe.
Bluetooth.
Yes. Bluetooth fixes everything. As long as you not get too far away. But Loot 2.0 fixes a lot of issues. And adventure mode's okay. It just loses its luster really quick for me.
Well, once you get through adventure mode, there's nothing to do.
But I mean, no, adventure mode you just keep re-upping because it's all random dungeons. You do it for loot, but I mean, all adventure mode is honestly is the campaign without all the lousy cutscenes that don't make a lot of sense.
Right.
So
See,
that's what bothered me about Diablo 3 to begin with, was that there was
Didn't make a lot of
lousy
sense.
cutscenes that didn't make a lot of sense.
Yeah,
And I was
I
like,
couldn't
I
get
love
into it.
Diablo 2 for the lore, and maybe it was because I was a kid. I mean, I was
It's
22 when it came out, like not really a kid.
You were a
but-
kid,
Wasn't it you, Greg, that I was playing with that you jumped into our game?
Yes.
And it spoiled the lore
Yeah.
for you, and you jumped out and was done. And
Yeah.
you rage quit.
Essentially, yes.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. All of a sudden, I was playing, because it just came out, and I was like, oh, I'm going to play with my friends. And then I was in, like, Act 3 all of a sudden. I was like, I don't know what's happening.
Because it was jump in, jump out. He didn't know where we were.
Yeah.
Right.
And then...
And I never played again.
Yeah.
Honestly, that
Wow.
experience was like, I don't want to play this.
Yeah,
I mean,
Because I was that guy that played for the story, not for the
Right.
loot. And I don't think they care about that player.
I'm sorry. If you're that guy and you're playing Diablo 3, you are hating life.
I hated life.
They're adding a couple of cool things, though. I mean, like, my favorite thing that's going into Diablo 3 on PS4 is the Nemesis mode.
Yeah.
And which is basically, if I get killed by a monster, that monster levels up, and then it jumps into one of my friends' games. That's on my friends list.
That sounds amazing.
Right? And then when, like, say it jumps into Phil's game, and then Phil plays along, and when he gets to the point where he sees that he encounters that monster, there's like a little fanfare with it, so he knows it's the monster that killed me.
Right.
Yeah. If he kills it, he gets bonus loot, and it sends a gift loot back to my character.
Oh my god.
But if it kills him, it levels up again and jumps to one of his friends' games. And this continues until either somebody kills it or the monster gets so damn high that it just says, I'm good, and it retires. Seriously.
It's like bad chainmail.
Well, like, I asked the guy, I was like, so how high does it go? And he said, well, there's not really, we haven't really set a number on it. He said, but we figured that at some point it was going to be this monster would just wipe everybody in your friends list out. And so we decided we'd, make it just give up at some point. Yeah. So that was a little odd.
Get better friends.
That sounds really neat, but kind of gimmicky. It's like, really, when will that? How often will that happen?
You know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of the sort of leave a note for your friend in Dark Souls kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly.
It was like which was fun for a little while.
Also, it adds some challenge. I feel like Diablo has gotten a lot more casual with the changes that it's made. Right? You can res yourself at your body. You don't have as many hard battles that you used to. The loot drops are always for you. So, in some level, No,
I mean, what I'm saying is they're making it even more so now, is that two changes they're making to loot is if Phil's playing and there's a chance that he'll get a gift drop that'll go to one of his friends and it'll show up in their game, and whenever they get it, whatever character they're on, it will give them a level appropriate, useful item for the class that they're playing. Right? And then secondly, if you're playing a co-op game, all the loot is going to be targeted at players. So like if a legendary drops and it's targeted at Janelle's Crusader, it'll be a Crusader focused item, and then no matter who picks it up, it'll go to Janelle.
What?
Yeah, so the loot is like the loot in a...
I know, I get it. I just think that's ridiculous.
Well, their reasoning on it is, it was always kind of a pain in the ass. And it was, if you're playing like a 4-player co-op and a bunch of loot dropped off a boss and somebody accidentally picked up 2 or 3 things, then you had to sort through your inventory, figure out what was dropped, see who wanted it.
So now you basically don't have to play.
Right.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
Yes.
No talking.
Because at this point,
no thinking.
like basically what I was saying is, I feel like it's now just become a more clickbait game.
It really has.
Because I never have to worry about dying, because the consequences, I just res right back there again. I mean, I played, when Diablo 3 first came out, I raided all the way up to Inferno. And I rage quit in Inferno because I hit the wall that was just like, I couldn't get the gear that I needed, and I didn't like the auction house.
Right.
That didn't mean I wanted to go the opposite polar direction.
Right.
And become like a filthy casual.
Well, let me say, let's.
Do you feel like it's a filthy casual game?
I feel like it's getting there. I don't feel like when I play there's a challenge.
Let's be entirely honest here. I mean, let's be entirely honest and just say that Blizzard has shown a penchant for moving their games in that heavily casual direction. It happened with WoW. It's happened with Diablo. I feel like StarCraft is next.
No.
God.
Stop! You're hurting me, Ron. You're hurting me with
come
your
on.
words.
I mean,
well, the campaign is already pretty...
Yeah, you think that hurts?
It's not difficult.
Does it make you angry when I say that StarCraft 2 is just StarCraft 1 with a graphical update?
But it's so true. But it's so true.
So, I mean, it's Blizzard. I mean, we love them, and we wish they were better.
But see, you know what? If Blizzard would give me, Warcraft 3 with a graphical update,
you'd buy the shit
I'd buy
out of
the shit out of it, and I'd play it until they made it so easy that nobody wants to play it again.
Well,
but the problem is that it's the story.
Yeah.
For me, Warcraft 3, I played the campaign because the story's fucking good.
Blizzard has always
really
had the
good.
penchant for doing
really good.
Great story.
Yeah, but they've lost it.
I know.
They've lost it.
They've lost it in a lot
StarCraft
of ways.
2 story was... Part of the Swarm was... and then Diablo 3 story is like...
Which is why a lot of their original developers
have gone.
Left and are creating
I don't
a
know
new
if
game.
it's...
And they haven't... They've clearly hired writers and designers that were for making casual games.
Yeah.
For making good mechanics.
Yeah.
I feel like that's
But
what they were going for. They hired those people for a reason.
They've lost their actual writers.
If you like old school Blizzard games, just go find out what their old developers are working on.
Yeah.
They're working on Firefall.
Ooh.
They're working on WildStar.
Way too soon. Way too soon.
Too soon. Too soon.
So let's table Blizzard.
That's not even what it's about.
Yeah, we'll table Blizzard for a little while. If you want to know all about Firefall and Red 5, we've got a great story you can read
Have
on
you guys
GameFront.
talked about it last week in the podcast?
Well, yes.
Okay.
Talked about it last week on the podcast.
And the week before that.
And the week before that.
We're done.
And the previous week.
Yeah.
So I'll tell you a game that I'm interested in. I didn't see, but Phil saw is This War of Mine.
Phil, tell us about it.
I am excited about that. So that's the guys, 11-Bit Studios. They're from Poland. They did the Anomaly games, which are those like reverse tower defense games, which I enjoy. And this is sort of a survival. It feels post-apocalypse, even though it's not. And the idea is that there's a war going on. You're in that war zone, but you're not fighting that war. You're just trying to not die in that war, basically. So you're a civilian, and you have a sort of like XCOM style apartment building, side-scrolling area that you deck out to be your base. And by deck out, I mean like build a working stove and have a bed and things like that. And then at night you go out when there are no snipers to kill you and scavenge around and encounter other survivors and maybe fight them, or more often than not just trade with people and dig up wood and stuff. I spent 45 minutes playing it, just like gathering wood and stuff, but it was very compelling even then. Even though it was just like, I really need to make this water filter, so I'm gonna go and find stuff
and find pipes.
Yeah, no, exactly. Like, and just craft stuff, and it's a very interesting take. And I talked with the developers a little bit, and what's cool about it is that they're trying to convey war without like a judgment about that situation, and they also don't want to. It's not like an atrocity simulator. Also, it's just like the idea of there's war happening and you're in it, and what's that like? And yeah, it seems very cool. I didn't get very far because it's PAX and you're on the floor and there are other people who want to play. But
right.
Yeah, it was a cool.
So you
it's
actually
a cool
got to play
idea.
it. It felt like you were playing a game.
Oh yeah,
because I talked to them 11-bit at GDC, and it was maybe an earlier version. I didn't get hands on with it, and it felt very not fun.
Yeah,
and I'm not sure if that was just because I wasn't driving and I didn't get the XCOM kind of feel to it.
Well, it's very right now like, okay, what do I need? I need to go search for food or everyone's going to die. And so you're like, okay, I'm going out and I'm going to get the food and I'm not going to pick up the other things. I'm going to only pick up the food, right? And there's a lot of that. And I think I didn't get very far.
Right.
But I think as you get further, it becomes more difficult. And I think that's when it will get actually cool. I was mostly in the tutorial where, you're really just going to empty buildings and picking stuff up. When you start to encounter other people and how you deal with them, that's when it can get cool. And like I came across a couple places where there are other survivors and they're like, we don't want you here. And there are others people who are, one guy's starving and you're like, well, I don't have any food now, but maybe I'll come back the next night. And he may be there, he may not be there. Or you come across people and they need medicine. And if you have medicine, then they might be cool to you. And if you don't, they might not be cool to you. And then I eventually crafted a weapon, and just for the shits and giggles of it, I went up and stabbed a lady, and she just because I was like, okay, I haven't actually encountered any fighting, so I'm gonna go instigate a fight,
make the fight happen.
Yeah, and
purely for experimentation, because you're
just to see what happened.
Just to see how it feels.
I felt so bad about
it.
Journalism.
I was doing hard hitting journalism for you,
the viewer.
Yeah. No, but stabbed this lady, and she's like, no, please, and then goes running. And to her friends, and then they all ran, and I felt like I was just burning up an anthill for no reason. It was awful in a way.
No, those ants need to die.
Yeah, so I mean, like I said, I'm optimistic about it. You might be right. It may well not be fun.
Right.
I was kind of on the cusp of fun, but I think it could get really cool. I'm a big fan of The Walking Dead, stuff like that. So when it gets to moral ambiguity, hang on.
Moral ambiguity.
Simulator.
It's not easy to say it
That's
drink.
I need a refill.
It's gonna be easier.
Yeah. Just getting careless.
Yeah.
But yeah,
no, I mean, I was on board with the thesis of the game. Like, I think this makes sense. I love it. I want it to be more like that. I want more games to show ideas that are different and weird. But I didn't. There were so many questions that I had that they were like, oh yeah, maybe we'll add that. Like, I was like, families. Like, I feel like having kids in that situation would change everything. Like The Walking Dead, like you actually mentioned. It's like, if you were protecting, your one child that survived, and your wife and your other kid had died in the war, like, how much more emotional wrenching would that be? And I feel like
how much more desperate would you be?
Yeah, exactly. And how much would you do to get that wood and stab that lady just to get just to get the food that you need to keep your kid alive? And I feel like, prostitution wasn't something they really mentioned at all, and I'm like, that would totally happen in a war zone where nothing. And then also, I just had so many questions of things that they could have added, and they were like, "Oh yeah, no, we're not doing that."
And you're right, and I didn't get to speak with them very long, and I didn't get to play very long either because it was, it's very much an open booth situation.
Right.
But that's all. And the other thing is, like you mentioned, it doesn't seem like they're families. They kind of made it sound like there's a group of civilians and they could be a family, and but they didn't really.
Right.
And you get a little backstory about each of the people, but they're not really people either. So I'm interested to see if they flesh that out a little bit,
right?
Because it's a lot easier to care about what happens to folks when you know who they are, when they actually are fleshed out. So,
and they mentioned that you could change their names and add personal pictures to them, like XCOM, so that you could create your starting people with hey, Janelle and Phil and Ron. And then
I love, by the way.
When they die, you would have that oh my god, you died in my game. That was terrible. I feel like that is something that they were thinking about adding.
Just as a side note, I mean, Phil Hornshaw in my XCOM game is the longest running soldier in history, man.
Is he the one at the end that had the sign? And
he's the assault guy. He's the assault guy on our team.
Assault class is the best.
I'm a shotgunner in every FPS every time.
I mean, so
you need a mix. You need a mix in XCOM.
You need to mix that stuff up.
Having one or two assault guys that are awesome.
Speaking of shotguns, I saw today
a shotgun.
The game that has a lot of shotguns in it, but that Janelle and I are really super freaking excited about.
What game?
Yeah, I don't know what you're talking about.
Borderlands The Pre-Sequel.
Yes!
Borderlands.
Yeah, I'm with Phil. Why is it even about that?
Oh.
So, did you get hands-on?
No, they were not letting anybody play it. But here's the thing.
I'm overboard. I don't know.
I loved Borderlands. I loved Borderlands 2 even more. Me and Borderlands 2 when I had a weekly date night. It was crazy. And but it looks really cool. I'm really super skeptical about it because Gearbox is not actually doing all the development on it. 2K Australia is doing a lot of it.
I don't trust Australians.
But
I don't trust
one of the really funny Phil is still extremely bitter about Colonial Marines. Let's just be right out front about that.
Duke Nukem was oh
god.
But Borderlands 2 is so great.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. There's some cool things that are coming in pre-sequel. There's a cryo gun where you can freeze people and then melee them and burst them into little tiny pieces.
Neat.
There's laser guns. It takes place on a low gravity moon, so if you throw a grenade just right, you can blow a guy off in orbit, which is kind of nice.
That actually is pretty cool.
And there's no atmosphere, so you have a digistructed face guard and an oxygen meter that's built. It's based on
science.
The shield, those shield mods you had in the first game or the second game.
Are you cute?
Are you all right?
No, I was waiting for him to finish because I didn't want to interrupt with the podcasting.
Okay. Well, there's a new item called an Oz, and that's what gives you your oxygen.
So is this the whole thing on the moon? Because I'm really excited now.
Well, part of it's on the moon, and part of it's in the big Hyperion base that looks like an H.
Okay.
Yeah.
This is nobody can see it in this podcast, but this was my excited face trying not to speak.
You look like you're going to vomit. So
her excited face is very similar to mine.
You needed oxygen.
Should I pull her hair back?
So if you guys have ever seen Total Recall, that face that Arnold Schwarzenegger makes on the surface, that was it. That was
with the eyes bugging out.
Yeah, that was the one.
Basically that.
But
super excited.
And so anyway. So, if you make a jump in the low gravity, you can vent your oxygen tanks to work like a jetpack.
Oh, all right.
Is it
That's
like
really
Gravity actually, where you could get lost?
Cool. I don't know. They didn't really
Oh my
say.
God.
I hope so. I
That's a
hope you
good
just
question,
like
though.
fuck it up.
Like the Sandra Bullock. I don't know.
And it doesn't.
Mikey
and it doesn't
Newman
kill you
did
in
make a
respawn
gravity
either.
joke.
You're just stuck
You're
there.
just gone.
until you
Yeah.
suffocate.
Mikey Newman made a gravity joke as one of the enemies was spinning away into the darkness.
They did make it good.
Yeah.
Good for them.
Here's a really interesting thing. When 2K Australia was pitching the game, they recorded all the voice acting for the people that lived on the moon. Like, their Australian people recorded it, but they tried to do American accents. They're really bad at it.
Nice.
And the people at Gearbox were like, leaving it in. Done. So everybody that's on the moon is from Australia. Turns out the moon is like an Australian colony.
Trying to act like they're
Who knew?
American.
I mean,
Who knew?
Australia might make a game
Wait,
about a colony like Australia?
I'm completely Borderlands ignorant. So is it set on Earth?
No, it's
No.
the game. Borderlands takes place on a planet called Pandora.
That's what I thought.
Yeah.
So what are the
There's-
Australians?
Eh.
They're just look. Nobody's really sure where Australians
Hand
go.
wave.
Got it. No, okay. They could be
Just
aliens.
because they have accents doesn't mean they're necessarily from Australia.
I got
Yeah.
it. They're from the science fiction version
You can,
of Australia.
Of the Earth.
The only
Of the
thing that we're not entirely positive, we're entirely positive they're not from America and they're not from Canada because they don't apologize enough.
I'm sorry.
Look, at the end of the day, what's Borderlands about? Vault hunting.
Shooting people
Whoa.
and
Vault
guns
hunting.
and guns and guns.
I thought it
and
was
guns.
And
Self-
vault hunting!
Cell shaded art. That's what I think of when I think of Borderlands.
Okay.
Was that even English?
Cell shaded art. Yeah, like
That would be the
Okay.
art style.
the art style is cell shaded, right? There's like the black outlines.
Yeah.
So,
That's all I think about.
I don't know, man.
Guns.
Did you?
Some
did
guns shoot fire.
Did
That's
you
what
go
I know.
to Crypt of the NecroDancer
These
today?
things.
I did.
Did you really?
Yeah.
I saw some people playing Crypt of the NecroDancer, and I said to myself, I need to get back here and see if Janelle plays this.
Crypt of the NecroDancer is one of my favorite indie games at PAX.
DDR dungeon crawler.
Yes. So you basically have to... So they have two versions of it. One is it works with a DDR pad.
Right.
Their
That's the one
second...
they had on the floor today.
Yeah.
And they had it on the floor today.
Oh my
I
god.
may still have one of those.
You had to play...
You got all the accessories.
And
you
so
need.
basically,
did
every
for a
dungeon has a soundtrack. And you have to play to the soundtrack.
Right.
Nice.
Any movement you make off beat doesn't register. And some of the dungeons actually gives you negatives.
Nice.
So you have to actually dance to the game as you dungeon crawl. It's amazing.
Yeah, no,
I mean, I could
so
talk
down
about
with
it
that.
some more, but that's literally the gist of it.
Could you show me what the dances look like?
I could, but the benefit of our audience wouldn't.
Well, we could. I'm
Later.
Sure we could whip
Later.
it out.
Okay,
I'll
later.
show-
All right.
Give me
I
another
could
drink.
describe
I want to see some.
I could describe it for them.
Oh my gosh, Janelle is totally dancing to the beat right now. And their
She is
legs
really-
are everywhere. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh. Roger Rabbit, she's Roger Rabbit. And now it's
Yeah.
the sprinkler. It's the sprinkler.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
There's some
I'm
shopping.
not
and all.
100% sure what that one
There's
is.
some shopping and there's a trucker. We were just playing like charades there. It's like dancing charades. First word, trucker dance.
Greg Tito wins.
Yeah, I get all the points.
Okay. So,
And a staff.
yes.
What?
Phil, talk.
Oh.
Phil played a game today that I was kind of curious about. So I want to like actually hear what he has to say about it, which is Murdered Soul Suspect,
Oh.
Oh, how was
I
that?
honestly didn't play it that long. but
Ghostly
it's like-
Detective or whatever.
Oh, it's so my shit. It's like so you're just like first you witness your own murder, which is awesome, and then you're detective for ghosts, and that's pretty much it. Like
Sounds funny.
Yeah, like it's
That's like a comedy.
No, it's actually kind
Oh,
of
wait,
light.
no,
It
it's
was
not.
It's like L.A. Noir but with ghosts.
yeah, a little bit. No,
All
no.
right.
So like you're stuck on Earth because you were murdered and you have like shit to resolve, and so you're like, okay, well, I guess I'm gonna start doing police work because you're a policeman, and, and then you like wander around your own murder scene and check out clues, and you can possess people and read their minds and get clues from them.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, and then what the actual mechanic of it, as far as the investigations are concerned, so you gather up little clues, and then you have to use those clues to like jog people's memories or to get them to think about things that you need to know. And so you jump in their mind and you're like influence, which is one of the buttons, and then you like pick the right clue and you have like 3 chances. And I don't know, it's like it's as a mechanic it's fun. There's not really a whole lot like of I guess, reason to pick any of the things. You're like, I need to know about the killer. So, like, I guess this clue sounds like the killer, and you kind of click it, and maybe it works. I don't know. But that said, it's still kind of fun to just, like, track around the world and find different clues and, like, investigate these scenarios. And like I said, I didn't play very long. I kind of got through the first section where you investigate your own murder scene, and then you go into this apartment building and you kind of like run into other ghosts as well. So there are all these side quests that happen around you where you're like these people who are trapped basically on Earth because they can't move on because they're unresolved, and so you're like helping them figure their stuff out. And you do that by, again, gathering the little clues and then infesting people's minds and figuring out their stuff. So I don't know.
It's like Beetlejuice the game.
It was a little bit like Beetlejuice, yeah, except without like the snakes and the shrimp hands and stuff like that. But it was cool. And like I said, I guess there are other things that happen. Like I guess there are demons or something that chase you or are around, and they might try to kill you. You have to hide
it's like
from them.
Beetlejuice and Ghost.
And Ghosts, yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't think you actually fight them. It's just all investigations and like listening to story and stuff like that.
Do you get some amazing lover at the end? You said it's like Ghost.
It's just like Ghost, right?
Well, your dead girlfriend is like on the other side of.
Yes.
Can you make a
so
pot
it's
with
exactly
her?
like Beetlejuice
I don't know,
and Ghost.
maybe. I didn't get to the pot part. There might be a pot scene. I don't know.
They're crafting the clay.
We cannot say there is a pot scene. We cannot
You
say
may
there
or
is
may
not.
not
very well maybe an ending.
inhabit Whoopi Goldberg and then make out with Demi
Whoopi
Moore.
Goldberg might be later.
Yeah.
Also,
We shall not confirm or deny any of these.
I can neither confirm or deny that senator.
That might be released.
I knew it was going to be
later.
bad.
Yeah.
I didn't know it was going to be this.
Square refused to comment about Whoopi Goldberg.
Square refused to Whoopi Goldberg's involvement.
You know what? I kind of want Whoopi Goldberg to be in a video game now.
What was the last
Why
thing Whoopi
hasn't
Goldberg ever
that
did?
happened?
Ghost.
The View?
No, get the fuck out of
In
here.
my Guinan from Next Generation?
No.
She was on the View
Sister
for
Act
like
3?
100
I
years.
don't know.
Sister Act.
The last movie
She
she was
wasn't in 3.
Yeah, I didn't think so. I was gonna say.
Like,
she
I've
was in
seen
2.
all of Sister Act. She's not in
Dude, I was
three.
like,
in
trust
Sister Act
me,
too,
I know
for
You
this.
like that I was like Fifth Act?
No.
She was in Thistle Act. It was about
Good old Thistle Act.
But I
I love that
did-
movie.
But I knew exactly what you were saying.
Yeah, that's true.
You know what's funny is Thistle Act sounds like a
Googling
show
it.
on HGTV.
It really does, doesn't it? Yeah, think about it. Gardening,
Yeah.
green thumbs.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Hang on, though.
No, but seriously, Whoopi Goldberg needs to be in a video
I
game.
know, right? How has that not happened?
Right.
Yeah.
And it would be in this movie, in this game.
Yeah, this
I
would
think
be
movie
the
game.
ideal
I'm pretty sure
I mean,
Whoopi Goldberg was in one of the Star Trek games.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, like I can't remember which one, but one of the Star Trek games she was in.
She was a voice actor?
90% positive.
Wow. Okay.
Of course, that's like
Oh, Whoopi Goldberg was in The View.
well,
Yeah, no, she's
Yes.
on The View now.
No, we said The View.
I said
yeah,
The
we
View.
said
That was
that
the
like,
first thing.
like 5 minutes ago.
That's not a movie. That's a TV talk show.
I'm working on it.
I got it. Hang on.
She hasn't acted in a long time, you guys.
Yeah. I mean, well,
Just throwing that out there.
You're
No.
probably right. I'm not going to argue with you. So,
I'll always remember her as Guinan.
yeah,
I
would
agree.
too.
Yes,
I mean,
most definitely.
so, day one, PAX, pretty much in the books at this point. We've got a whopping
20 minutes until it's in the books.
20 minutes till it's officially in the books. But
You said PAX.
You totally said PAX.
I said PAX, yeah.
Jesus Christ, there's
Yeah,
like
sorry,
3
yeah.
of them.
Mhm.
Guys,
Catch up.
she is in 2014's Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle.
No, what?
What?
That's
This
what it
is
says.
information that has not hit the internet yet.
This is what
has not hit the
Wikipedia. Wikipedia says.
No, wait. What? Really?
No, send that to the Escapist today, right
Bernadette Thompson? Who's Bernadette Thompson? Is that a
don't know.
character from
Whoopi Goldberg.
No, I know. But
now. No, I don't know. I have friends who know about Terminator, or the Terminator.
Terminator music.
Terminator Mutant
Terminator,
Ninja
that would be my.
Are
that would
we
be the
breaking Wikipedia
I
news
was
right
breaking
now?
Whoopi news.
Maybe
We
doing
are
that.
breaking news.
I'm
Go to
Next thing we do.
whoopi.com and we'll break that news.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that wins.
So somebody send that to Ross.
I am.
Yeah,
I'm
get
doing
that
that.
to Ross
This
right
is happening,
now.
you guys. I was
I
right.
can't believe this is happening.
Yeah, we're gonna post that on the Escapist
So
movie.
for those of you that are listening right now, you just heard news break.
Yeah, that's what it sounds like.
Tune into the
exactly what
Escapist
it
for
sounds
more.
like.
Okay,
It also sounds like a glass breaking. Smash!
Oh.
I need to share some
I got the
more.
balls to smash.
She's done more than we've given her credit for. She was in Toy Story 3
What?
as Stretch.
Oh, shit.
Have we
Stretch
really?
Well, and she was nominated for an IGN Movie Award.
Yeah.
Well, okay then.
I'm pretty sure I was too.
She was
best kiss.
She was in the 2011 The Muppets as herself.
She was?
That's what it says.
She does kind of resemble a Muppet.
Was she in the Muppets movie?
It says she was.
The new one? Well, IMDb never lies. This is great content, by the way. We should do this all the time.
We're taking it deep.
We're not
we're
deep.
just like,
Okay, so I'm going to stop at 2011 because
That's really dirty.
We're going balls deep. We're going to turn this one up.
I'm stopping at 2011 because it goes downhill from there.
Yeah, really fast.
Poor Whoopi.
But hello, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
that's a career maker. For sure.
Yeah.
She's going to win another Oscar.
I'm guaranteeing it.
She's going to go straight from, not Purple Rain.
It's a Michael Bay movie.
Roots?
Yeah.
Color Purple.
Color Purple.
She won the Oscar for Color Purple, and then it's been all downhill.
Guys, it's a Michael Bay movie.
So it's
So
Oscar
he's-
magnet.
So she's going to win an Oscar with lens flare and explosions. I got it.
No, lens flare is
And really-
Abrams.
Yeah.
And really nice, like, lower body captures.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah,
No, it's the sunset that's Michael Bay all the time.
Yeah.
Miami lighting, every movie.
Every day. Yeah, got it.
All day, every day. Miami.
It's always magic hour.
It's always
It's always the magic
Bad Boys
hour.
2.
It's always magic hour at
Bad
PAX.
Boys 2?
yeah.
Jesus, you say Bad Boys too.
Yeah.
Okay.
I just want to get that clink in there.
I heard it.
Oh, I'm trying to take off the top of the bottle that has no top.
I think this might be towards the end of our
Yes.
podcast.
Well, so with day one
The editor-in-chief
almost
suddenly
in the
said.
books, with day one almost in the books, we've got a whole lot of stuff on tap for tomorrow.
Yes.
We've got panels.
Do we have another bottle of bourbon on
No,
tap for tomorrow?
let's hope so.
We gotta get another one for
Because
tonight.
we killed it.
We are looking at all sorts of fun stuff tomorrow. Phil's going to be playing Evil Within, hopefully, or at least seeing Evil Within.
Or at least being evil within himself.
Yeah, well, he is always evil
Being
within.
the evil.
You're also seeing that in Invisible Ink tomorrow. I'm kind of interested.
Yeah, I'm
in
excited.
that. Yeah, that's really cool. And I get to finally play
games.
Wolfenstein, which just excites the hell out of me. So, because all I've heard from Phil is, "Oh, Wolfenstein's amazing. You should go play it." And now I'm going to go play it.
Nice.
So,
It's a good time.
Sweet.
I've only seen demos of it. I haven't actually been able to have hands
Phil's
on
played it a few times, and every time he comes back, we do a podcast. He's like raves about how excited he is about playing it.
Pretty
And so,
excited about it.
And so now I'm like if it sucks tomorrow, I'm gonna probably hit it.
Yeah, probably.
I mean, just
in the face.
Yeah.
right in
On
the
the
Bethesda
podcast.
booth. Right in the booth.
Just wait
Because
for it.
we're gonna be in the booth together. He's gonna
Yeah.
be Evil Within. He's gonna walk out of Evil Within, just
You
bam.
need to have someone do a live retelling of it while you're doing it.
What I need is to get Andrew Renee there.
We
with
should
the
do
camera,
it. We should do
and
a
she
drunk
can like
history of-
cover it.
We can make this happen.
We're at the Bethesda booth live. Ooh, so this went down.
Yeah.
Phil
And you
Hornshaw's
go-
going to have to eat
you
his
go-
hat.
You go flying through the set, Ron, as you like sucker
Yeah.
punch him.
The sets are flimsy, so if you like jump back into the set and the whole
It's over. You're
Bethesda
taking
booth
all of
falls
PAX
down,
out.
like that's comedy gold.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, and then it hits the Chessex booth and dice go everywhere. I mean,
And then
And
we all
everyone
take
grabs
it.
all the. They're like, ooh, dice.
so, you know, I want those dice. That's what my first thought is. I want those dice.
Basically, we're just gonna engineer a situation in which we can spill dice everywhere. And
So that we can scoop them up and take them home.
There will be dice in my butt. Just forewarning to those of you at the TSA at the Boston Logan Airport.
It's just a D20.
It's just a no. It has to be a D4.
Oh, ooh.
That seems a lot more sharp.
Yeah, it really does.
Now that you mention it.
That was a bad call.
The edges are a lot less sharp on that
That was
one.
a bad call, Ripley. It was a bad call.
On that note,
On that note, I think we're going to end the first episode of the PAX East 2014 pregame podcast. Team GameFront's here. I want to thank Greg Tito from The Escapist for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
He has been the life of the podcast, without question. So if you guys all tune in, keep an eye on the site for our coverage, and we'll hopefully talk to all of you very soon. Cheers!
cheers, everybody!
Cheers!
Clink, clink.
Clink, clink,
Clink, clink.
clink, 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 clink.